Alysha Berenson was 33 years old when she killed her husband. They had been married for 7 years. They were both artists. Alysha was a painter and Gabriel was a well-known fashion photographer. He had a distinctive style, shooting semi-starved, semi-naked women at strange, unflattering angles. Since his death, the price of his photographs has increased astronomically. I find his stuff rather slick and shallow, to be honest. It has none of the visceral quality of Alysha's best work. Of course, I don't know enough about art to say whether Alysha Berenson will stand the test of time as a painter. Her talent would always be overshadowed by her notoriety, so it's hard to be objective. And you might well accuse me of being biased. All I can offer is my opinion for what it's worth, and to me, Alysha was a kind of genius. Apart from her technical skill, her paintings have an uncanny ability to grab your attention, by the throat almost, and hold it in a vice-like grip. Gabriel Berenson was murdered 6 years ago. He was 44 years old. He was killed on the 25th of August. It was an unusually hot summer, you may remember, with some of the highest temperatures ever recorded. The day he died was the hottest of the year. On the last day of his life, Gabriel rose early. A car collected him at 5:15 a.m. from the house he shared with Alysha in northwest London, on the edge of Hampstead Heath, and he was driven to a shoot in Shoreditch. He spent the day photographing models on a rooftop for Vogue. Not much is known about Alysha's movements. She had an upcoming exhibition and was behind with her work. It's likely she spent the day painting in the summer house at the end of the garden, which she had recently converted into a studio. In the end, Gabriel's shoot ran late and he wasn't driven home until 11 p.m. Half an hour later, their neighbour, Barbie Hellman, heard several gunshots. Barbie phoned the police and a car was dispatched from the station on Haverstock Hill at 11:35 p.m. It arrived at the Berensons' house in just under 3 minutes. The front door was open. The house was in pitch-black darkness. None of the light switches worked. The officers made their way along the hallway and into the living room. They shone torches around the room, illuminating it in intermittent beams of light. Alysha was discovered standing by the fireplace. Her white dress glowed ghost-like in the torchlight. Alysha seemed oblivious to the presence of the police. She was immobilized, frozen, a statue carved from ice, with a strange, frightened look on her face, as if confronting some unseen terror. A gun was on the floor. Next to it, in the shadows, Gabriel was seated, motionless, bound to a chair with wire wrapped around his ankles and wrists. At first, the officers thought he was alive. His head was lolling slightly to one side, as if he were unconscious. Then a beam of light revealed Gabriel had been shot several times in the face. His handsome features were gone forever, leaving a charred, blackened, bloody mess. The wall behind him was sprayed with fragments of skull, brains, hair, and blood. Blood was everywhere, splashed on the walls, running in dark rivulets along the floor, along the grain of the wooden floorboards. The officers assumed it was Gabriel's blood, but there was too much of it. And then something glinted in the torchlight. A knife was on the floor by Alysha's feet. Another beam of light revealed the blood spattered on Alysha's white dress. An officer grabbed her arms and held them up to the light. There were deep cuts across the veins in her wrists, fresh cuts, bleeding hard. Alysha fought off the attempts to save her life. It took 3 officers to restrain her. She was taken to the Royal Free Hospital, only a few minutes away. She collapsed and lost consciousness on the way there. She had lost a lot of blood, but she survived.